Just stop 10 people walking down the street and ask them, what's a good nonprofit? 7 will look like they don't know. They're afraid of being wrong. 2 will be like maybe mumbling but not afraid. One's going to say, oh, it's the one with the lowest administrative overhead, and the rest will nod in agreement. And the fact that 10% of the American economy, the economic equivalent of India, is wrapped up in this, and people can't tell you what a good nonprofit is economic craziness. So what we really need now is how do we move beyond this? And I'll be honest with you, I'm on a lot of these committees where people are trying to replace one formula with another. But I'll tell you, in my opinion, the secret. And then if any of you all want to use this, feel free. We just unveiled at the DC Central Kitchen a volunteer Bill of Rights. There's 90 million people volunteering. Imagine if that generation of people start to ask, as is one of our rights, you have the right to know what impact your work made in the community today. Imagine if 90 million people started to say, what did I do today? If you want me to come down and give you my time, if you can't tell me what I did, not only am I not going to come back, but I'm going to get on this. And I'm going to tell everybody, when I was a young man, if I bought a car at a used car lot and drove off and got 200 yards down the road and the engine blew up, I would have had to find a quarter and call my friends, but they would have come down and we would have pushed it back, and I would have said to the person who sold it to me, hey man, you probably didn't know that this car was not in good shape. Because a high degree of likelihood that person would say, hey man, done deal. Our business is done. I said, but that's not fair. Man, you ripped me off. That person could say, write a letter. This generation could say, yeah, man, I'm going to write a letter. My friend across the street, he just reported this entire conversation. And the letter is going to be the You're Going Out of Business page on Facebook. And it's going to go up about an hour from now unless we do some business. That's power. And that generation of consumer is coming. Not just in daily commerce, but in charity too. But this idea of recognizing that's coming and channeling that energy. Saying in effect to volunteers, come on, come down here. We need you, we want you, we're going to use you, and together we're going to rock this town. That's the power of volunteers. We say in effect you have the right to be treated with respect. You have the right to work in this kitchen no matter what your physical limitations. You have the right to our financial information. You have the right to rate your experience here. You have the right to talk to any staff member. Transparency means there's no such thing as a development department anymore. Everybody's in development. There's no such thing as a marketing. Everybody in the entire staff is in marketing. To a certain extent for us as volunteer bill of rights is again, it's codified transparency, but it's also, at the same time, an employee bill of rights. Because it says whether you just graduated and started this job yesterday, you have the same rights I do. You have the same responsibility. You have the same opportunities. Your voice is just as important as mine. That's the level of transparency that I urge you to consider. This discussion will go on for much of the next 2 years. And while it would be tempting to think that you can postpone the decision on how far you will be transparent, I urge you not to wait. Just as I have before, John Pratt and I have worked for many years on the idea of a unified voice for the nonprofit sector. And I've been very blunt at times, suggesting that any nonprofit that thinks they can go it alone deserves to go it alone. I feel sometimes like that kid in The Sixth Sense. I see dead nonprofits. And I tell anybody who thinks they can go it alone, man, good riddance. This is the time we must stand together. We must own our collective power. We must revel and celebrate what we reveal about this community. The inherent power of this community, the deep well of love that is this community. That's what we're here to talk about. And I urge you to race towards that future, to join me. Be that third kind of leader that isn't afraid, but is actually audacious, courageous, compassionate, forceful, true, and committed. Again, not just to this city, not to this state, but to this country. I'll see you down that road. Thank you very, very much.